Hi, grade 11s. I'm going to be going through what you're going to have a chance to do in the next 5 days, and I'm going to record it, but so that you have a resource. So you will have a chance to be on one of the editing computers, and within your files, you're going to go to the TGJ3MI02 file, and in there, you're going to see there's a 01 Learning to Edit. Inside this Learning to Edit, you'll see File Responses, which is downloaded from Google Drive. These are all the responses of video that people uploaded on the Friday. And then you have Music to Learn Video Editing By. So I have different music selections based on what I was able to get downloaded. And there might be more that come up. So why I've done this is that getting your information onto the computer, the importing the information is the hardest part of starting editing. And I wanted to fast forward you to the fun part because that often gives you the energy to actually start learning all the parts. It's kind of like learning how to drive a car. It's the most fun is being able to start going forward and backwards and being able to get places. But as you own a car and start to put more investment into that car, then you care about your brakes and you care more about, your oil changes and how this works and that works. And then when you buy a car, you start to invest more and more. But it doesn't make sense to teach you all that until I give you the basic driving. So that's my analogy. So on that note, I want to introduce you to Premiere. So this is Premiere. You are going to start like this, and the first thing you're going to do is make a new project. And this will be your project area. It's going to be super important that you keep it organized. And it's just thinking for a second. And how you're going to keep it super organized is that you're going to label it. So I'm going to say this is Dolman, and I'm going to be specific, learning to edit demo. And I can browse where I'm going to keep it. Now it's made a nice folder suggestion for me. Do, 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 do. Oh, the beach ball is spinning. That's okay. So I could put it in here, but I'm actually going to say, okay, go back to your desktop, go back to your period E, make yourself a folder, new folder, and call it your name. So Dolman's Sem 2 Work. And what we're going to try to do is this semester is that you always work on the same computer for your editing. So there we go, period E, TGJ, demos, there we go. Okay, so then I'm going to press OK. I'm not going to worry about all these details. It looks pretty freaky. I just want to get you up and going. All right, so here we are. It's thinking about it. And sometimes things will crash, especially if the computer hasn't been restarted. And my frame for Premiere is a little bit out, so I'm just going to try and adjust this so that you can see all the edges. Okay. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get our media into the system. You're going to need to do this. So I'm going to click on here to import media, and it opens it up. From here, I need to find my source material. So I'm going to go to Desktop. I'm going to go to 3GJMI, and I'm going to go to Learning to Edit. I have my responses. I could absolutely add every single item. In fact, there's part of me that wants to do that. So I'm just going to go 55 items, import. And notice that I'm importing the folder. So there's a code here that was used by some of the things. This is like, oh, problem here. Must be installed to use this feature. Click OK, will install and enable this codec for me to use. I'm going to see if it works. It may not because of the system. This is not surprising. iPhones 7, 8, 9, maybe all iPhones actually had a codecs, which is there's a lot to codecs. It stands for compression and decompression, but a codecs is the architecture, the digital architecture that puts the video into a digital state. And when things get updated, things like an editing machine here needs an updated codecs. It's run into a problem a little bit. Sometimes I'll use something called Handbrake that will allow me to update the codecs or bring it back to a codecs that I can use. So this could provide a little bit of a hiccup for us, but that's something that we can parking lot and learn. So these are all the error message that I got of file responses that could not be accommodated because of the codecs. So I'm just broadening out the names. Didn't like the zip file that I left, and it didn't like these particular movie ones. So that's just good to know. Now, Ellie, Ryan, Awab, and Zachary, it doesn't mean that your footage can't be used. We just might have to go through an extra step. So there's my file responses, and there's part of me that doesn't like that name, and I could rename it. I'm not going to worry too much. But if I wanted to, I would right click. Oh, sorry, cancel. Right click on this. I'm going to actually rename it because I want to. And I'm going to call it raw footage. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to import is my music choices. File, import, and music to learn editing. I'm going to import. There we go. So I have this, and I like having them in folders or what they call bins, because then it doesn't fill out this area. So my next thing that I'm going to do is make a sequence. So here's my sequence. And I'm going to call it, again, my name in it, because I want to keep it straight, Dolman Learning to Edit Demo. You can have many sequences in one project. So let's say I was making a feature film and I had my opening sequence and then I had my next sequence. Rather than having one big, what they call timeline, I might just have 2-minute, 3-minute sections that I can then sort of stitch together later. So let me introduce you more to this space. This is generally the default setting. For editing, you have your source material here. This is an area where we will look at the source. This is what will be on the timeline. Here is our timeline here, and whatever we place here, we can look up here. Within the timeline, you'll see that there's like a big thicker line here. Anything above is where we place our video, and the V1, V2, V3 stands for video. These are different layers, and below is our audio. Here are some of our tools. This is our selection tool, and this is our razor or our cut tool. These are really important two tools. These are also very useful, but they come sort of later. Notice that with the selection tool, I wish you could see me point, but there's a V there, that's the shortcut key. And sometimes it's faster, and in fact, it's better for your hands if you use your shortcuts. All right, we're at 7 minutes in. So what I want to do now is just get you started. What we are doing is just getting, the point of this is to get information in and information onto the timeline and get some experience of how you might edit with music. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry too much exactly about my music. You're only going to be editing 30 seconds. So here's my music here. Oh, which one I'm going to choose? Okay, I'm going to choose Moby. All right. Oh, how do I get Moby in? I just want to drag it in, and there it goes. So that green audio, I'm going to put it on the audio here. And what will probably happen, especially if I open it up this way, is that it's just forming its audio file. So the music's not playing in my headphones here. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. Usually I see an audio file, and I'm surprised I'm not. I think it might be that it's generating it, but I'm just trying to see if there's a way. Okay, I'm not too worried about that now. The thing is I only need 30 seconds, and I'm like, okay, and I'm going to just randomly take 30 seconds here and here. So what I'm going to do, there's a couple ways to do this. I could either just pull at the beginning and go, right, you know what, that's my 30 seconds there. Or I could hit my C for cut. So my blade tool is my C for cut. And I go, all right, I'm just going to do 30 seconds right in there. And then my selection tool, I might select the end part, and then I move it, and then I'm going to move it to the front. Now let's say if I realize, oh, you know what, that's still a minute. I'm going to bring it here. Okay. And if I'm like, oh, I cut it too short, there. Then I'm going to lock my track. So that's just set, and that's all I'm going to worry about. One of the things I can also show you is that there's this slider tool here that can enlarge my space. So now that I've shortened it, that's about my 30 seconds, I can make that space larger. I'm going to move this up here. Nope, here maybe. Okay, so now I have my raw footage. Now, it's really easy to get caught in looking at stuff. So what I want to teach you is how to make some really quick decisions that don't take up too much time. So you have 55 images in here, and it would take you forever if you watched all 55. And some of you will know your footage really well. You know, I have a really good moment. This one caught my attention just because it's a really strong image right away. I'm just moving my folders around. Notice how I'm grabbing from the top. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to bring that here. And what I can do is I can scrub through the image and just look at it like this, going backwards and forwards. And you know, I like it starting right here, so I'm going to put it in here, and then I'm going to go out here. And I'm going to pull down the video in. If I want to pull down the video and the audio together, I would pull on the image, and then as I pull it in, I see both image and audio. But I don't want the audio, so I'm just going to pull the image in and put it right there. And then I'm going to go to this one. Oh, it's on the side. Maybe I'll come back to it. I'm going to slide through this. Oh, I like the feet. Feet, feet. Don't like that handle there, so I'm going to go, oh, here we go. In. And I'm just going to take a few seconds of that, and I'm going to pull it in. And then I'm just going to see, oh, this one had trouble. Media pending, that just means that it's trying to figure out the image. Ooh, foggy. Oh, I like the motion of the camera right there. So I see the image, I go in, and I see that. And I'm going to pull that in. Oh, notice how I pulled in the audio? I can get rid of that later. What I would do is lock it, select, and delete. Okay, so at this point, I just need to check how much I've been talking for 11 minutes and 43 seconds. That gets your basic in here. What you're going to do is and my encouragement is when you're first selecting your footage is just go through and find footage and put it in really quickly, and then afterwards you can start rearranging it and finding moments that play together. Don't overthink it now. It's kind of like your draft stage of writing an essay. You're just going to get it in, and I would spend your first 25 minutes doing that, and then your next 25 minutes going, okay, how could I make things look interesting or work? There's a whole bunch of other functions like speed, duration, that are pretty cool as well. So we'll talk about that later, but that's the basics of what you are doing today.